what about situations where you don't have time to meditate? So I'll give an example. If I'm having an argument with my spouse and she says something or I say something, or something happens generally which really, gets on my nerves and works me up. And at that point, possibly I might not have the time to go to a corner, close my eyes and focus on my breathing. So in those moments where the emotion is very high and I don't have time to meditate, what to do at that instance? How do I just, take that 2 seconds off when it's in the heat of the moment and you don't might not get time all the time. So what do you do in that stage?
Right. So, when we talk about meditation helping for all these things, include one of the things being anger management, it's a long-term solution, right? So it's like you meditate at a different point in your day and it helps you at a different point in your day. It's not like a problem comes, let me sit for meditation. It's not like that, right? It's going to help you at a different point of time because it slows your mind down. It allows you to expand your awareness and be present in that moment. So it's a long-term thing that changes a lot for you. Now in that situation, how to do, like say if meditation hasn't worked for you yet or you're not in that practice, so there are few simple techniques we can do. If someone really troubles you, irritates you, whether it's your boss, your wife, anything, spouse, so one thing is delay the response. So our brain is such that it's divided into two parts: the emotional brain and the logical brain. The emotional brain is more primitive. It's also called the reptile brain, based in the limbic system, which is our first response, our immediate impulsive response to anything that happens. So someone says something, "Arey, ye kaise bol diya?" It just goes on, triggers off something. And the second is our logical part of the brain, which is based on a more evolved part called the neocortex, which is there in human beings, but is not there in lower form mammals. So it's a newer part of our cortex also. So what to do is when you delay the response, and delay is just someone said something, hold on, just wait 5 seconds, wait 7 seconds, wait 10 seconds. What happens in that gap of time, it allows your brain to shift from the emotional system to that logical system, the circuitry in the reptilian brain to the neocortex. And therefore, you're able to anticipate your consequences better. You're able to take the other person's perspective much better. So it slows things down for you. And then you don't react because you're already aware of, oh shit, agar main aise bol dunga, so what will happen? It's not the right way to respond. So immediately someone triggers you, try to delay the response, try to take the other person's perspective. Okay, maybe they're upset because of this reason, and try to empathize. So these things will help. The next question is how to delay this response, how to do it. So again, mental practice. Like it's not going to happen immediately. Try it once, try it again, constantly try. And meditation by default will help you delay the response, because meditation, what it does is it literally slows everything down for you. It doesn't slow things down, but it increases your processing time. So things automatically slow down for you. And instead of the first response, like, shouting back, you'll get a whole, like a item of responses, like you're shopping on Amazon and there's a whole catalog of things, and you can just scroll and see what I want to add to my cart. So if your processing comes so fast, we're like, okay, instead of this, let me say that, let me do this, let me do that. And then you're like, okay, this is the best response, and say it. And by the time you've done this whole thing, it's just a fraction of a second. For the other person, it's just they've said the word, but you've gone through so many responses, options, and come up with the best thing. So practice delaying your responses. The best effective thing for making sure you don't offend someone, you don't make yourself angry and make things worse for you also.
And
So I would suggest this thing.
something very similar to what you said was said by this parenting expert called Ria Lula. And what she tells is a concept called footnoting. So when she says when a child really gets on your nerves or a spouse really bothers you, you just footnote it. At that point, you do not react. You find a moment later on where that child or that spouse is in a comfortable, more vulnerable, open moment with you, when they're open to ideas. And because if you reply at the point where they're angry, there is 100% chance they will not listen to you. So always find a
Right.
moment later on when they're comfortable, having a cuddly moment with your spouse or your child. You just tell them, the thing you said at that point, that hurt me, that pricked me. So it's a very cool technique, what you mentioned.
Yes, I would definitely say that's works. And delaying the response, right, to a future time when they're more receptive to it.
Yeah.
Mm.
But Kunashni, what if something really major happens in our lives? Like we lose a loved one, a family member, somebody passes away, a serious illness happens in the family. The moments of sadness and depression take place. And you talked about that you're living in the past if you're letting those emotions affect you. But again, sometimes it's difficult. So how do you really come out with moments of sheer sadness and despair in your lives? What do you do that in that stage?
So these moments are very difficult and tough moments in life, and you have to understand um, what moments in life you are able to control and what you're not able to control. So there's one concept called a locus of control, and this is where you place responsibility of things that happen in your life. So a very internal locus of control is means you take responsibility for everything that happens. And it's good to do this because if something happens in your life, say you lost your job or something, and you start to find reasons of what went wrong in your own performance or your own skills or behavior, you'll be more acceptable of that outcome because you know you did something, and that means that you've learned from it and you'll not do it again. It's in your control to make sure it doesn't happen again. You can change it. So having an internal locus of control is great. But there are some things in life where you just have to accept that there is no internal locus of control, and this is death. Death of somebody else, or something like, a natural calamity or some kind of environmental damage or change that you haven't caused directly. If that happens, these are things in our external locus of control, things we can't say that you had a direct part in it. And that's when the whole idea of acceptance comes in. Acceptance is super difficult, and it takes a lot of emotional healing, a lot of time. So time definitely gets you out of it. So two things I would suggest for, if something shattering happens in your life. One is time, emotional healing with time. Surround yourself with a good social support system, people who understand you, who value you, who will be able to listen to you genuinely, and not just those Facebook friends kind of concept that we have. Surround yourself with that, and again, have that optimism for being in the present and living. It's very difficult, it's easier said than done, that be optimistic. And another great thing is something called meaning making. So finding your own meaning in life. Now something's happened, we don't know why, we have questions. Why did they have to die? They were only so young, this age, like why did this have to happen? But what we do is, as humans, as storytellers, as creators of our own destiny and our story, we make narratives. We say, okay, maybe it was for this reason. So meaning making, finding meaning in your life. And actually Viktor Frankl talks about this man's search for meaning, and it comes in existential psychology, where he says that our whole purpose of existence is trying to find meaning in our existence and in the things that happen around us. So when you associate meaning to things around you, whether if it's the truthful meaning or not, but it gives you that comfort, it makes you feel better. So this is how to get out of that shattering circumstance and system, which is super difficult. I know people personally who have gone through it, and it takes a lot of time, but you do get out of it. So there is definitely that hope.
Very well said. Very well said. Okay, so one of my favorite films is Three Idiots, and there is a dialogue in that film which says, "दोस्त फेल होता है तो दुख होता है, पर दोस्त टॉप करता है तो और भी ज़्यादा दुख होता है." So this emotion of envy and jealousy is in all of us, and even though we don't admit it, sometimes we all get jealous when a friend gets a hike which we feel we deserved, or a neighbor buys a car which is better than ours. So this emotion is very very common in all of us, and somehow, although we somehow know it's not a constructive thing, we all tend to fall in that trap of envy and jealousy. So what do we do in that situation?
Okay. So how not to feel jealous? How not to feel? So why do we feel jealous? We feel jealous because someone else got something and we didn't get that thing. But if you understand why they got it and why you didn't get it, I think it'll be more easier to accept that entire situation. So it's all being conscious about the actions that led up to that event. So I'll give you one example that happened at my own college. One of my HOD, my principal, she absolutely loved my work. She loved, talking to me. She would always give me extensions for deadlines if I had to go for a sports event, or would praise my work. And but not the same for the other people. So one of my friends, she would go ask her a simple question, ma'am would lash out at her. Very different approach to both the students. So my friend would say that this is absolutely not fair. How ma'am treats you so well, and for us, she doesn't even answer the question. So I said it's simple. If you want something in life, in this case, if you want ma'am's love, right, you have to do what it takes to get that love. Are you willing to spend the whole week studying the chapter which you know that she's going to ask in the test? Are you willing to skip that party, skip that social event, to make sure that you do something which you know she will love? If you're willing to do that in order to get ma'am's love, which you want, then go for it. Then do that, right? Then don't complain you don't have a love because you're not willing to do what it takes. So again, at the job, if someone else gets a promotion, right, and say it's a fair promotion, or let's take the 3 idiots example only. So a friend ko, first of all, I think the best kind of comparison is self comparison. Right? You constantly compare yourself to other people, you're not going to grow in life because there are always going to be people better than you. There are always going to be people not as good as you. So you'll stay in literally the same place. So self comparison, where you were compared to where you want to go, you will keep improving. So that's the best way. Now this dialogue about friend fail होता है तो दुख होता है, लेकिन friend first आता है तो और भी दुख होता है. So I think when it comes to that, okay, friend fail होता है तो दुख होता है. Yes, try to help your friend out, but friend first आता है. Now that is like, have you put in the same amount of effort that that person has done, right? If you have, like, see what they're doing differently, and then try to modulate their approach. Just jealousy is not going to take you anywhere. If you want that same result, you have to be willing to put that same amount of things in. You can't see that that person has so many has such a big house, such a big car, what did that person do to get there? You're not seeing all the sacrifices that were made. Then you won't be jealous of them. If you know that they're studying 24 hours a day, and have like a miserable social life or something, not necessarily, but have like all these other issues going on, then you won't be jealous of them. So be aware of the complete picture, and then I think you'll be happier where you are and with what you have. But yeah, jealousy is this root thing that constant comparison. Even social media, people are going for vacation, they have these like sexy bodies, they look like this, they look like that. Constant comparison. That's why best, like, have a social media detox, stay away from it from some time, and just like be yourself. Just have fun and do the things you enjoy doing. With constant comparison, it's like you're making your own life miserable. By comparing, you're saying that my life is not good enough, and you're living your whole life thinking your life is not good enough despite having XYZ, A to Z, everything.
Talk about sadness and how accepting sadness and possibly learning from it is important for us. But do you see any benefits of negative emotions like envy or sadness or anxiety and depression? Are we learning something from it? Is it all bad, or is it just a name we have given to it? What do you think?
So, emotions are not good or bad. Negative emotions also are not bad as such, right? It's how much we let them affect us, and what we, like I said, the behavioral output, what we take out of those emotions, how we act on those emotions. So, something might make you sad, something might make you jealous, and experiencing that emotion is very important. There's definitely a benefit from experiencing the emotion. Only when you feel jealous, you know that there's something else that you want. It makes you aware. Your emotion makes you aware of what you want. Only when you feel anxious of the future, you understand that the future is important to you, that what someone's going to say, or whether you're going to have your job, is important to you or not. Now, what you do with that information is up to you. You've got out from that emotion, from that anxiety, you've understood that getting the job is important for me. So how do I ensure that I can, uh, how can I ensure to do things like, develop my own skill set, make myself more hireable, or, more attractive as a applicant. And then your behavioral output changes. Or you can just constantly live in that jealousy that, yeah, they're always better than me, they're like this or that. Kind of make up your own things in your head, and just sit there, compare yourself with others, not compare yourself with self, or constantly think about the future, remain anxious. So emotions are good. All emotions are good. even the so-called negative emotions like uh, sadness is important. If like your friend dies or your dog dies and you don't feel sad, like, are you human or not? Right, all emotions are valid. It's like, what do we want to do with that emotion? You come out from a very fancy party, like your friends 25th anniversary or something, lavish food, huge buffet, very happy. You walk out and you see some street kids on the road looking for food. You're going to feel super sad, right? So do you want to not feel sad at all? Do you not want to feel depressed? Are you going to kill that human emotion of yours, or how are you going to change that behavioral output? You can do things like immediately get them food if you have, or later in life start up something where you can offer like a huge kitchen that makes food for a lot of people. Or simple thing is, don't waste food at home. So emotions are good because it keeps us grounded, it keeps us in touch with reality and able to respond to different things in life. But how we react to that, it's even anger. Anger means that that thing is important to you, right? If someone says something bad about your mother, you will get angry at that person, right? Is that emotion valid? Yeah, it's someone you care about a lot. But how do you respond to that person, right? And what does that speak of your own character? That is how you can differentiate between whether emotions are beneficial or not, and whether the behavior that comes out of them is appropriate or not.
That's great. Okay, Konashni, last question. How can we make this world a happier place? What do we as a society cumulatively need to do to just be happier as people despite all the negativity which is going around us?
If you want to make the world a happier place, first make yourself a happier person. If you are constantly happy by yourself, happy with your life and the things around you, you will make things around you more happy and more positive. If you go out in the world and say there's so much negativity, what are you bringing to the world? You're bringing more negativity. You are attracting negativity and you're changing shit about the things around you. So if you just work on yourself, we don't need people to change the world. We just need people to be better people and change themselves, and the world will change automatically. So you want to see a happier world, it's all in your perception. Change your life, be a happier life, and you'll start seeing things differently, and you will make a happier world. Because you will, if you're in a good mood, someone interacts with you, you'll talk to them sweetly and nicely, you're automatically affecting their day and making them feel better. You've not done something great to change the world, but you're changing the people. And the thing about ripple effects, that's so awesome and amazing. Like, I had a great day. Okay, let's say I had a great workout in the morning, something I decided to do. I'm happy. I go out, someone talks to me, I say something nice to them. They feel so nice. Someone comes to them, they share their food with them. They feel so nice. They go home and, talk to their mom. The mom feels so nice. Mom calls up the relative feels so nice. There's this whole ripple chain of effects. So, just by you doing your workout in the morning, someone in Saudi Arabia is like having a great day. You never you never know how things are connected. That's a beautiful aspect of life. And same thing with negativity. You want to change the world, you had a bad morning, you said something bad to your friend, she felt bad, she said something bad to her mom, this, that. Now someone in Egypt is having a bad day. So,
Be the caption I'll share
so
this
yeah.
interview with.
Yeah, ripple effects. You don't see them, but yeah, they're there. Yeah.
Great, great, Konashni. This was very insightful, very useful. I learned a lot. And thank you so much for spending your time and just having this chat with me. So, thank you.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. I really enjoyed being part of this, and yeah, hope to have more discussions and chats about life in the world and changing people's life in Egypt.
Definitely. We're doing that. Super. Konashni, I think this was very insightful, very useful for me personally, as well as anybody who's listening to this talk. And I think we have all come out much wiser people after this 1 hour conversation.